I wouldn't say exactly that we're immune to it here in South Florida as Cubans who are used to the story of the building of Miami. But even Amin, who's with us here today, and is Sudanese, so he knows what political unrest looks like. Even Amin was surprised at how we glossed over the amazing story of Randy Orozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays, who decided to play for the Mexican national team in the World Baseball Classic, even though he is Cuban. And all I said about it was that his story after defecting from Cuba started in Mexico, and then he ends up being on the Mexican team as, let's be honest, a total ringer. Just ridiculous that he would even be playing for the Mexican team. Yeah. And the Mexican team was only that good because he kept robbing home runs and hitting home runs and was totally ridiculous.
That's what a ringer does, Dano.
Yes, that's exactly what a ringer does. But which are the parts of the story, I mean, that you were most offended by us just sort of skipping past and glossing over, because we're used to defections like El Duque, where he ends up for 7 days on some small island eating raw snails and throwing up in the bushes because he's trying to get to this country.
Right. I think it was that part that classifying him as a ringer, because in my mind, all right, he's Cuban, he's playing for a Cuban team, and then, like what usually happens is they play somewhere and then you don't make the flight back, and that's how they defect. And played a little bit in Mexico and made his way to the major leagues. And I thought that's what happened. And then I read the details, and I was like, oh my God, this is next level stuff. And the reason he plays for Mexico goes much more beyond, I just want to be able to play in a World Baseball Classic or whatever. There's an actual kind of almost like a debt to society he's paying.
He's representing Mexico because they brought him freedom.
Yes, in the purest sense, right? So the story is obviously wasn't making a lot of money playing in Cuba. The team,
nor in Mexico. Basically playing in one of those Kenny Powers leagues.
Exactly. So, but in the Cuban team that he played for played in some tournament in the Caribbean, and they left him behind because they were worried he would defect because he was too good. And so, but by virtue of him not going on that trip, he lost out on the wages he would have made, and that became like a deal breaker for him. And so that's how he defected and emigrated to Mexico. And as you said, played in one of these Kenny Powers leagues. In his workout to get with the team, he had to share gear with one of the other guys in the workout because he didn't have anything. Makes the team, plays well, and then from there gets the call up to the majors and, makes a decent amount of money, all that stuff, but had been campaigning to be a Mexican citizen for several years, right? And it turned out that he posted on Instagram and the president of Mexico saw it and said, you know what? Yes. And so now, not only is he representing Mexico, but his brother, his mom, his kids, and his wife all live in Mexico. This dude has embraced it in a way that the way you were saying it, I thought it was hey, man, I need to play in this thing. Mexico, y'all need somebody? All right, let's go. Which is a very normal thing in the world of international sports. You see it in soccer. You see it in basketball, where these guys from another background come in and this is my opportunity to play for an Olympic gold medal because I wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise because of the nature of the team dynamics of my native homeland. No, this is a dude who's embraced it. And I was like, man, Dan, you kind of just gloss over all that.
You have to understand that what you're witnessing in the World Baseball Classic with all of the stories is an emotion that makes these people a lot more human and a lot less robotic. But on that game last night, Japan beats the United States. More than half the televisions in Japan were watching that game with a seismic moment at the end that Ohtani called the greatest moment of his life, Stugotz. Where he's facing...
Mike Trout would not agree.
That is correct. Yeah. He's facing...
What an incredible moment. Can you imagine if those two guys played on the same team?
I know. They'd be good.
Wow.
He's facing Mike Trout at the end of the game and strikes him out because he's throwing 100. Okay, here's something on the black that's not 100. See you later, Mike Trout. But on on this day where we've got the sound of that call from Japan, Amin is here somehow to make an allegation against Ohtani, not to celebrate Ohtani, to be the guy who zigs while others are zagging while accusing Ohtani of something.
I will say that we also glossed over someone saying Ohtani was better than Babe Ruth yesterday on the show. Blasphemy. Sultan of SWAT. Get out of here.
Someone, that was Jeff Passan.
Ridiculous.
Pretty reputable.
Yeah, but it was a ridiculous statement, and because of his reputation and because he's got credibility, no one really challenged him on it, but we should have, because Ohtani is not Babe Ruth. Not today, not tomorrow, not next year, not in 10 years. He'll never be Babe Ruth. Sorry.
To be safe, it was Elmo, not Jeff Passan.
True.
And he's not Babe Ruth. He's better. The reason I didn't
He's
challenge
not better?
him is because I agree with him.
Oh, Jesus.
A-Rod
Dan.
also said it on the broadcast.
Enough.
He also said that analytics have not made their way to Japan.
No. No.
He also said Babe Ruth might have been faster than Ohtani, or was faster. I don't know.
Hey, it's an all-time Yankee great.
Fatter.
Aha!
5-tool player.
What is your what? I mean,
Faster. I mean, that's what I was talking about. You made the fat joke. I was talking about faster.
No, I think he said he was the fastest player or something. He said Babe Ruth was fast.
Babe Ruth never had a season in which he hit 7 home runs or 18. Ohtani's had 2 of them. I mean, what are we talking about?
Aren't those seasons that were cut short by injury?
I don't know.
that's the kind of analysis you get from Stugotz, the expert on watching all of Babe Ruth's games. What is the accusation, Amin, that you wish to file on this day of celebration? Great national celebration in Japan for Ohtani.
Well, first, okay, it was awesome. That was awesome last night, seeing him go
Don't
out
make
there.
the diluters.
Okay.
I don't want to hear what a great player he is.
Okay.
I want to hear what the accusation
He's a
is.
It
fraud.
was awesome.
He's a
I was
fraud.
watching Lone Star 911 because that was on main Fox. This was on FS1, one of the biggest baseball games ever, and the mothership for Fox is airing 911 Lone Star. But yeah, I guess sure, the biggest baseball game ever was on FS1.
He's a fraud. Ohtani speaks English perfectly. This dude, I've seen it a million times. What they do is they have an interpreter, not because I don't understand or I don't know how to correctly express myself, but because they know if I add this extra layer of bureaucracy, they won't be as keen to interview me. They're like, do we want to get Ohtani? And they got the interview with the interpreter there. And so last night, this is how I know. This is the tell. Last night, Ken Rosenthal interviews him on the field. Now, we know that the question has to go to the interpreter to interpret, and then the answer has to go to the interpreter to then bring it back to us. And neither Ohtani nor Rosenthal give a second of energy to the interpreter. They're having this conversation over here. Interpreter's poor guy doesn't want to get in the shot. He's leaning forward. He's like, well, I can't hear what you're saying. And at no point in the show I say, hey, did you get that? They know exactly what's going on. Everyone's in on it, and it's just like a farce. It's just something they throw out there.
Well, I don't think it's a farce. Ichiro famously had an interpreter, and the legend around Ichiro was that not only did he speak English perfectly, but he also spoke Spanish perfectly. But having that extra layer of bureaucracy allows for some privacy, too. Makes you a little less approachable from certain aspects of the media. It allows you to think things over, and if you're not necessarily sure on like 1 or 2 words here and there, to have some clarity. But the legend was always that Ichiro spoke 2 languages perfectly outside of Japanese.
That's pretty cool, though.
Both of them dirty. Also, as someone who covered himself in being maximum professional for his people, he would speak in those languages dirty.
Really?
Yeah, he
Yes.
would surprise like third baseman with Spanish shit talking.
That would be a great way to get your interpreter in trouble. Accidentally say something really bad. Stove talk.
Not accidentally. Stover.
Yeah, that's right. We've got Destiny Harden on later in the show. Both Miami teams are in the Sweet 16, the women's team for the first time in 30 years. But Amin and I were also talking, Stugotz. I was fed up yesterday with the outpouring for Chris Whittingham. Quitty.
Quittingham.
He got a lot of love for someone who was around here 6 minutes, and no one ever announced that he was executive producer.
Cup of coffee.
The rare announcement and retirement tweet.
I think put it on the poll, please, Juju. Did Whittingham inform the audience yesterday that he was executive producer?
We never got around to announcing that. It was grand opening, grand closing for Quitty.
He had 3 tweets, full maximum characters in the tweet. Why? Who's he thanking here? Right? Like, oh, thank you, all the people from Le Batard Show. You know what, Whitty? We're all here. You could have walked up to Dan and Stugotz and Mike, say, hey, thanks, by the way. You really helped me out. To do it on Twitter, you know what that's called? Grandstanding. A little bit of a look at me, Louie, going on over here. Like,
Oh, really?
Wow.
The grand opening, grand closing, grand standing.
Performance? Not grand.
He should have done one of those 4,000 character tweets.
the notes
Oh,
in the
those would have been
notepad.
great. Do you guys ever see those where it says continue reading and you're like,
Tweet
oh,
longer?
surely this will be the end of a sentence when I click on this, and it's just 2,000 words from some friggin' guy complaining about something.
Oh, no, it's never that. It's always, let me tell you, nobody in the world does I'm leaving this job for another job like sports media. Holy hell, you think they cured cancer? Oh, and I'll never forget. Nobody cares, man. Hey, I don't work there anymore. I'm going to work here. Boom, done. Sold.
Not exactly how you did it.
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly
Bishop
what
to
I
Rook
did.
9.
He just showed up here. I mean,
Do you have the sound, Mike, of, and this was such a cool moment for Japan.
it was great, man. I'm so torn, so conflicted on the World Baseball Classic because my reliever got hurt. But, man, the players have spoken. They love it. The fans love it. And it was exciting.
The emotion, and it really is with sports. It's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Hey, sports can be fun and emotional.
That's sport.
And it'll be fuel for you. People will enjoy it. But here's the Japanese call. Again, more than half the televisions in Japan watching Ohtani strike out Trout at the end.
フルカウント大谷かトラウトか空振り三振最後は大谷翔平が締めくくった侍ジャパン WBC 王座奪還
Love that. Love that, man. What do you think he means by that?
Yo, yeah, by the way, the Fox call was like, it reminded me of in the movie Great White Hype when Irish Terry Conklin gets knocked out and the little kid in the wheelchair just deflates instantly. Like, oh. They sounded so sad.
Courtesy of Fox. Sports 1.
Ohtani's ready. Trout's ready. 3-2. He struck him out! Ohtani strikes out Trout, and Japan's back on top of the baseball world. He broke out his best slider on the 3-2 pitch. Wow. Samurai Japan, which won the first 2 World Baseball Classics in 06 and 09. Lost in the semis the last 2. Have spent 6 years preparing for this. And this incredible moment to finish it off as Shohei Ohtani strikes out Mike Trout and Japan beats the United States 3-2 in the championship game. A classic in every sense. Oh my.
He was struggling on defense. Not enough of the block and stealing. Tired of losing, it's not fun, man. So Jimmy's gonna start the trolling, and this is how Jimmy reminds. This is how Jimmy reminds the Heat to play defense. This is how Jimmy reminds the Heat to play defense. Teammates can't shoot from 3. Now they're gonna see a different Jimmy. Now he's just playing Nickelback in the locker room. And now they'll play D and shoot 3s as they chase the Nets for the 6th seed. These 5 words in his head scream, are we winning games yet? Yeah, 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 oh no, yeah, 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 oh no.
Is that Jeremy Taché going to get it from the groin?
Jer Bear.
Yes, it was, Dano.
I did not know.
Oh no.
Did not know he had that in him.
Oh, please, he's a theater kid.
Oh no.
I needed more baritone from Jer Bear.
Oh no.
Are you saying it was good, Dan?
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was good and awful.
Not gerbil. Yeah.
Oh no.
Wow.
Yesterday, Jeremy texted me out of the blue saying, we should play my Nickelback cover on the show. Tyler asked me about it today. And I said, excuse me? And he said, the Nickelback cover. I had no idea what he was talking about. The Tyler he was talking about was Tyler Hero. He name dropped Tyler in a text message.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hit him one time with it. What's going on around here?
He's making parody songs. He's name dropping Tyler. This kid's getting a little big for
What's
his britches.
happening around? What's happening?
Oh no.
My question is this. If we didn't play it on the show, did he already show it to Tyler Hero like on his phone and be like, hey, Tyler, like, what do you think about this? This is funny.
That must have happened. How would Tyler Hero know about Jeremy Taché's Nickelback cover?
Oh no.
And by the way, I guarantee this is what Tyler said. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh
Tyler likes it. We should play it on the show.
Okay, to clarify, they were talking about the Nickelback thing in the locker room, not specifically the cover, but his text message to me was confusing in that he was name dropping Tyler Hero and a Nickelback cover I had never heard about. I don't know.
I'm prepping for this Heat playoff push fueled by Chad Kroger. So I'm looking at Nickelback merch, and they actually have a really funny T-shirt. There's two people in the world, Nickelback fans and liars.
Oh no.
Kind of slaps.
I want to ask Mike Ryan if this is going to lure him into the playoffs have already started. You really want to get in front of the Nets. The Nets have the tiebreaker. Over the last 10 games, if the Nets went in their last 12 games 6-6 and the Heat went 8-2, that's what you'd have to do in order to get this the 6th seed. I'm assuming you want it badly.
I wanted to make moves just because I wanted to be interesting. That's why I was pro Russell Westbrook. Like, F it. Let's just be fun and interesting. So if Butt Rock makes us interesting, cool. It's something new and exciting to help me get into this season that I think is pretty much a lost season.
You wanted Westbrook. I mean, you've seen how...
because I think I know what this team's ceiling is, so I just wanted to add a crazy variable to it.
If you're gonna lose fun.
Yeah, I just wanted to let's just throw everybody out there and be crazy. Let's get John Wall too.
This is the part that wouldn't be fun, though, because they're already the worst shooting team in the league from distance. I mean, have you seen a lot of people play the way Golden State was playing Westbrook, where it's just move 40 feet away from him? Let him shoot all the threes that he wants, because by volume, he's one of the worst three-point shooters ever. He's delusional about it, and he will keep shooting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of people played like that. I know a long time ago, Golden State did that to Tony Allen with Andrew Bogut, but not like that. Where the guy,
was like that.
The guy guarding Westbrook, I see in the middle of the key Westbrook's at the top of the 3-point line, and the guy that's guarding him is just dropped back closer to the basket than he is to Westbrook.
I mean, I think it's even more disrespectful when it came to Tony Allen, because they were like, we're not even going to guard you with someone your position. We're going to guard you with our center. That's how little we have confidence in your ability to help us from the outside. And that's why I'm not saying you have to be able to shoot in today's NBA, but you got to be able to be a threat somehow. And so the most famous non-shooting version of a threat was Dwayne Wade here, right? When LeBron came here, when Wade figured out, I have to play off ball, but I'm not a shooter. So then he started cutting, and these well-timed cuts made him a threat. He was a spacer, even though he couldn't shoot, because the idea is the guy guarding him could not just say, I don't have to worry about this for the entirety of this possession. I can, I'm free to look around. The problem with Westbrook is it's not that he can't shoot. It's that he is not a threat at all if he's on the floor. He can't find a way to make himself an active threat.
You mentioned Wade's cuts to the basket. Another weapon that he had in his arsenal was, okay, you're going to give me the space. I'm going to close out the space myself, and I'm a fairly decent mid-range shooter. Early in Russell Westbrook's career, he would make that top of the free throw line jumper, but he's not really even doing that now. He's like, okay, this is a 3-point league. You're leaving me open. I'm going to take this shot, and that's exactly the shot that they want you to take.
And I think for him, when he was good at that, and I think good is a relative term,
right? But
it's couched in volume, right?
Right.
If you give me 20 of these shots, I'm going to hit 9 of them, right? Cool.
To the point that you have to account for it.
Right. Now, if he's got like 4 or 5 of those, like that becomes backbreaking because now he's taking these shots when they need it. Not because he's just got this steady diet of shots that he's getting. Now it's like it's the ballad of the role player. Like Steve Kerr talked about when he was working, when he was playing, the things that he would work on with Chip Engelland was not like, let's get 100 shots from the corner. They would literally sit down and they talk about life and they talk about family and stuff like that. And then Chip would be like, all right, stand over there and make 5. And then come sit back down because that's his life. His life isn't, oh, I got 30 shots tonight and I made 18 of them. His life is, I got 3 shots. And if I miss the first and I miss the second, I'm pretty much not going to play the rest of the game.
I better hit that third.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Well, maybe even hitting the third ain't going to be enough. You need to 2 out of those 3 in order to continue to get minutes and shots and opportunities. That's a world Russell Westbrook has never lived in. Not since maybe his freshman year at UCLA. And even then, he got time. He just wasn't like a focal point offensively. So that's a hard transition.
Even when he had that mid-range shot cooking a little bit, it would often be in transition, and I was just way more happy that he'd be taking that shot than just going to the cup.
rim. Yep.
We'll get to Destiny Harden in a second, and we're just a segment removed. Forgive me for continuing to be disoriented because the most shocking thing from the World Baseball Classic and everything that was happening there is hearing that kind of noise in that ballpark because you had people flying in from all over. I've told you before that we don't have a large Asian community or Mexican community down here, and the ballpark was crazy for Japan against Mexico. And yesterday, it was an awfully noisy place in the center of a very Latin place in Miami where I've been waiting for a really long time for people to fill that stadium with some kind of emotion as the business of baseball continues to tell me that Latin people want to celebrate baseball, but the Marlins can't get any of that celebration.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I noticed the last 2 weeks just walking around Miami, seeing people in jerseys everywhere on the beach, downtown, like at cafes in the morning, at restaurants, just baseball jerseys, baseball jerseys, caps, hats, whatever you want to call them.
Caps.
No cap.
And I don't think I've seen that for the Marlins fans down here, but it was cool just being in Miami for this event and seeing how many fans were in town for it and repping, their team the entire 2 weeks of this.
Isn't it weird that Major League Baseball basically created the World Baseball Classic? And now it's successful and popular, and they're like, oh, this World Baseball Classic. Like, it's your thing. You're literally getting paid off of this. How can you be mad at it? Like, oh, can't believe they care about this thing that we made up.
Well, it just happens to be a year where 2 key players got injured. I mean, Altuve and Diaz. So that's why you're getting that reaction.
They have insurance. I discovered this last night.
Oh, but the teams are mad. Like the fan bases are mad because the Mets have invested.
Their contracts are guaranteed. I mean,
love their
insurance pays it off.
Well,
like
I'm mad that Mark DeRosa blew this. I wanted to be champions again. That should be everybody's concern. Mets fans, you haven't won a World Series in quite a bit. A World Baseball Classic championship, you won that 6 years ago. That's forever.
It seemed like there was enthusiasm from MLB. Like they announced right after the game that they were bringing it back already when there's been such like a vocal sports media debate about it that I don't think really is. I don't know. Have your friends been debating the injury thing? Like most of the people I talked to have been talking about how
if
fun
your
the
friends
games
are Met
have been.
fans,
Met fans.
Yes.
All right. Well, other than Mets fans.
It's a very
sure.
New York sports chat I'm in, so.
Okay, fair enough. Mets fans are really upset about
And I
it, but
get
also
it.
they're a little cursed.
Would there have been a Team USA championship parade in New York? Ticker tape.
Why would it be New York? Wouldn't it be
Well,
Washington,
because when
D.C.?
the U.S. Women's national team won the World Cup, they did a parade down What are they called?
Canyon of
Canyon
Heroes.
of Champions or
Of
something?
Heroes.
Of Heroes.
Heroes, yeah.
Champions. What do you think this is?
I was at the one in 2019. It was awesome. Really cool.
What happened here? We got to get a female one. We got to get Look at Me, Louise. Yeah, we have to do that.
Sticker tape everywhere, whatever that is.
What happened yesterday on the show is that we created a hierarchy of drunkenness in honor of Tekashi 6ix9ine causing a ruckus at the Marlins game. What is that hierarchy from bottom to top? A lot of people were offended that at the very top we didn't have just Amin Al-Hassan's name. What is? How do we go from the?
Well, that's the end, right?
I would think.
Yes,
I think that would be after blackout or shit-faced or whatever the height of it is. But what's the list, Jessica, from bottom to top?
From bottom to top, number 1, Chris Whittingham.
That's
Mildly
totally sober,
inebriated.
right?
I had to push back on that. Nobody says I'm mildly inebriated.
I've
That
never
was
heard
such a
that.
cop.
Ever.
That was such a
Yeah.
cop thing to say.
Chris
Yeah.
does.
Well, Chris made this
Narc.
list. Rest in peace. And as the new executive producer, I might editorialize a little bit as I
Congratulations.
read it.
All right.
Yeah.
Buzzed, tipsy, wavy, turnt, lit, hammered. Parentheses, white people dancing. 3 sheets to the wind. Causing a ruckus. Wasted. Shit-faced. Plastered. Tanked. Under the table.
All the same.
Greg Cody. Hospitalized. David Hasselhoff?
Yeah.
Denny's?
Yeah.
Ah, Denny's. Grand Slam.
Hangover. You're hungover if you're still drinking. Michael Jordan flu game.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amin Al-Hassan.
I don't know about that.
What happened with him locally? What happened with Tekashi 6ix9ine locally?
He got jumped at the Westchester LA Fitness in
No
the
way.
sauna. Yeah.
In the sauna?
Yeah.
in the sauna?
Jumped and robbed.
Just
and,
outside
and
of the
his
sauna.
his alleged assailants. I don't even think we should say alleged because they filmed the whole thing. Were like talking trash to him the entire time. Say, this is what happens when you let a rat in.
Wait, hold on. Maybe I'm a little naive here. But typically when you're in a sauna, aren't you
I mean, he was dressed when. No.
Aren't
Not
you
everybody.
what? Aren't you what?
not wearing anything?
But he's around
No.
the sauna. Tony
No.
just made the correction. He wasn't in the actual sauna.
They didn't yank him
wearing
out of the
a
sauna
tail.
naked.
Can
is
we
what
do
he
a
had the-
hierarchy of
asking.
nakedness?
He had the
guys?
robe on. He had
No robe at LA Fitness, by the way. This is a very
Really?
bare knuckle gym. Yeah, this
Huh.
is not that kind of place.
But Westchester? What
Westchester even more so.
He's
What
hanging
is-
around in Westchester. I saw him walk into the Flannies when I was watching XFL.
Mike
one
almost
time.
took his ass out too.
I don't think I can call her a Meadowlark employee, but she is one of our NIL athletes. We're proud to
She
go.
does send invoices.
We're proud to go on this ride with her. She is really tough.
That's good enough for me.
Yes. Destiny Harden with us after the biggest victory in the program's history. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations. And I start with perhaps an obvious question. Emotionally for you, in terms of moving, what was more moving in your sports career? This shot against Indiana on the road to beat the #1 seed, or being with Mike Ryan and Chris Cody at a Cesta Cyclones game, watching the Cyclones march their way to their own kind of championship?
Well, since this one was history for the program, I'm gonna have to go with the shot.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Not what I wanted to hear. You're still sporting the black eye. The sport is unbelievably
She can't control that, Dan.
physical. Thank you, Stugotz. It's an you play it very physically. And starting here, how tough are you, and where does your tough come from? Because I imagine at this point in the season you're pretty banged up.
Yeah, no, so I'm from Chicago, and a lot of tough players come from out of there. You know, Pat Beverly, he come from over there. So that give you a little something for where I come from. And just having a tough mentality and a tough, physical aspect of the game is all just Chicago breed.
What would you tell the audience are the most interesting parts of your story on how it is that you got to Miami?
The most interesting a part is I did come to Miami for my first choice. They was recruiting me since I was a sophomore, and I actually went to West Virginia, and then I turned back and came here. So I guess that's the most interesting part that the coaches would tell you guys too.
You told us after the game, you told everybody that your assistant coach, because I thought they were going to break you. I doubted when they hit the three with 8 seconds left because you worked so hard. You're fending them off all game, and I thought they were going to send the game into overtime. And what happened in those 8 seconds after Indiana makes the three to tie the game and you're in the huddle?
Yeah, we just knew that we couldn't go into overtime. We was in foul trouble, and there's no way that probably the way the refs was calling it, we wasn't going to make it. I have 4 fouls. Jaleel Williams has 4 fouls. Other people had 3 fouls. The other team had a person that fouled out. So, I mean, we couldn't go into overtime. It was just winning the game, and that's what we came to the conclusion of. We still got 6 seconds left. Is anything possible in March? So just try to go out there and win the game.
But you were told specifically to win the game, were you not? You were like, not just go out there and try to win the game. It was demanded of you specifically.
Yeah, just being the leader of the team and actually having to hit that shot last year. And the same coach told me the same exact thing that he told me last year. Just go out there and win the game for us. And that just gave me confidence to, hit the shot.
So you cleaned up the language for us, but not for ESPN. I appreciate that.
This one, I got my emotions together right now. I know I got my emotions together.
Destiny, are you with me? Because I can't believe it. We have everything. Indiana has nothing. We have the sun. We have beaches. We have oceans. We have water. We have nice weather. And now we stole basketball, which is the only thing that they have. The men's team beat Indiana. You guys beat Indiana. We own basketball, right?
I mean, listen, in Miami, there's a lot of things to do. Everybody don't think that we just come here to play basketball. And in Indiana, I literally saw that it was only basketball. So, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I guess we can own basketball too.
Very nice of you to join us after such an emotional time. Can you take us through what happened in the huddle after the game, celebrating what you saw, what you felt, celebrating on the road in their building with a whole lot of people who were stunned? One seeds don't lose early very often in that sport.
Yeah, it was just a lot of emotions, a lot from the coaching staff to the players to, the managers, just because this is the first time under Coach Meyer that she's going to the Sweet 16. So it was just a lot of emotions, tears of joy and just everybody collectively happy together because our season been on a roller coaster this year. And for us to come out and play well against a very, very good team, I mean, it means the world to us that we survive and advance that game. So. It was a lot of emotions.
Did you like one of the Cavender twins at the line making a free throw, putting him up 3, and then shushing the crowd with an index finger?
Of course. She's one of the top free throw shooters in the country last year, and she's still doing her thing this year. So, I mean, if anybody at the line, I trust her to make those 2 free throws.
How hard are you on yourself about missing the free throws before that?
Well, after hitting the game-winning shot, it
Perfect.
relieved me a little bit. It relieved me a little bit. But at the time, when I missed the shot, when I missed the 2 free throws, it was kind of like I was in my head. That's all.
There are some Indiana fans out there that are crying travel. I counted 0 steps, but apparently
no, she traveled.
Knock it off.
She did.
I went too, Mike. We got the same type of idea.
You were not willing to admit to us that you traveled on that final play.
Oh, Mike, I ain't saying nothing. Only Mike.
What I was saying before we met up. I'm like, well, she got fouled as soon as she got the ball, and that's what caused the travel. So there we go.
Yep. The key to traveling is never talk about the travel,
That's all you talk about when you travel.
That is so true. If I had come up to you and said, after you lost by 26 in the ACC tournament to Virginia Tech, what is the percentage of chance, Destiny, this team even gets into the tournament? You would have said what? Percentage of chance?
I don't know if I could give you an exact number on that, but we was pretty confident just because we beat them at home before. We didn't play our game in ACC, even though they're a very tough team and they're number 1 seed too. I don't think we came out and played our game against Virginia Tech when we played them in the ACC. So I can't give you a number of the percentage chance, but I knew we was going to make the NCAA tournament.
In looking back at the game-winning shot, if people want to say travel, they should look back at that Oklahoma State game, though, when they called the 5-second violation when there was 4 seconds on the clock. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life.
No, I agree. We was all shocked because I thought Coach got the timeout, and when he called 5 seconds, I was like, it was no way that was a 5-second count. But listen, I'm not a ref, so I don't know.
Everyone knows in that spot, it's not really 5 seconds, it's 6 seconds, and this one wasn't even 6 seconds. It wasn't even 5 seconds. It was a legit 4 seconds. Everyone on the broadcast was really confused by it, but thankfully you guys got the dub. A huge comeback victory. What a moment. What a player. Your jersey should be retired.
Again, I give it to you, Mike. That's all Mike talking.
That is Mike talking. He
Is there
he's
a
also
question?
been,
I mean,
well, but you were pointing and smiling whenever he had anything bad to say about the referees. I don't think you can get any trouble for that, but you were agreeing wholeheartedly. The game was officiated poorly. They allow a lot of physical play. Like there was a lot of contact allowed where things were not called.
Yeah, no, like I said, the coach always tell us not to get involved with the refs. She get involved with the refs. We just go out there and play. But one thing that we do in practice is when we take the ball out, she make us count in our head. And I know Jazz literally told me she was on like 3.5 seconds. So, I mean, the world saw it. So I don't really have nothing to say about the refs.
On the physicality of the game, you're sporting the black eye right now. If you followed Miami basketball all season long, you know that once a game, you're on the court writhing in pain because you play a very physical style. Can you detail some of the stuff that you've gone through? I know you've missed time this season. The team's had some big wins occasionally when you've been out, but it's been a struggle for you.
Yeah, no, it just all goes back into practice. We play each other physical, so there's no way that we're not going to play the other team very physical when we beat up each other in practice all the time. But that's what makes us physical in the game. In practice, we trash talk each other and we beat up each other in practice, and it just all flows into the game. You know, we're just a hungry team. You know, so hungry and humble also.
Can you explain to us who on your team you think the opponent finds generally most annoying?
Somebody on our team, maybe Lachey Dwyer and Leah because they hawk the ball so hard. I know I'll be annoyed if I have to dribble against that for 40 minutes. So maybe those two because their defense is crazy. So I think other people, point guards, be exhausted after the game going against them too.
Where does the Indiana crowd rank in terms of intimidating places that you've played?
I give them number one. I played at South Carolina, but they got a great fan base too. But Indiana, they're so close that you can literally hear what they're saying. You can feel them over you. I think I got to give them number one from where I've played at.
And what would you tell us that felt like? Because you led all game, but they were coming for you all game. They never got the lead, I don't think, in the second half, but it felt, right? In the history of that sport, Destiny, usually when the 1 seed is at home and coming back like that, no one withstands it. The lesser seed never withstands that.
Yeah, no, it just gave us a little motivation and play with a chip on our shoulder just because we know that they was the number 1 seed. And also just watching a lot of film on them that they have really good players over there. And I give all props to Indiana and their coaching staff. But to come out there and play the way Miami play, I mean, that's literally how we play. That's how we should play for the remainder of the season. It'd be a battle going against us, whether we win or lose.
How do you feel about Villanova? Because they have senior guard play, which does concern me, but they have played a couple of bad teams headed into this game, and you have played some good teams and you beat them, and I feel like advantage Miami, plus we own basketball.
Right now, the coach has been preparing us for Villanova. I don't know too much about them right now, but we got practice today. I'm sure we're gonna watch a whole lot of film on them and go over what they do best and just continue to clean up what Miami do best and then I'll give y'all some insight. But right now, I'm not too sure about Villanova.
How often does Destiny Harden join? Because you got intramural guys or high school teams that have something to say. Destiny Harden just finds a pickup game somewhere and starts dragging everybody. Like, how often does that happen where you're finding a game somewhere in a gym somewhere and it happens to be men playing and you decide, okay, watch this, they're going to underestimate me and it's not going to go well for them?
Yeah, I honestly I haven't had that in a while. I guess the biggest thing is going against our P squad players. I mean, we kind of dog them all the time too, but some days they come in acting like they need a scholarship too. So hey.
No, but tell people what that group of players are, because they do throw bodies at you, right? With kids, I guess they're on campus that also play basketball or want to help the program.
Yeah. No, those are players. Those are men players that come in and compete against us. They're just regular students here, but they're pretty good. They got some good basketball players on the P squad. But some days we come in ready to beat them, and some days they come in ready to, I don't know, win the championship against us.
Okay, you don't like them very much. You've been banging with them all season, and you don't like the idea that they think that they can play with you guys. Their job is to help you get better and ready for the tournament. Their job is not.
Which they do. They do. I appreciate them a lot. They do.
Destiny, thank you for being on with us, and congratulations. Cannot wait for that parade through Coral Gables when you guys win the next few games.
Thank you guys for having me.